I know I said I was going to dive right into the bodywork on this, but one of my problems is that I'm a habitual tinker. I just can't like leave things alone. So this morning I says, let me give this thing a quick tune-up. So points, condenser, cap, rotor, set of wires, plugs, and she runs good. Timing set at 32 degrees right now, and it seems like that's where she wants to be. We still have to get into the carburetor. We're going to start with this before we get into the thermocard, and we talked about that. But I want to start dropping thicker drop rods in this thing, start leaning out the primary side. But what I wanted to do was, because I'm all about extreme budget building. So in that vein, it's like, well, how much do we actually have into this thing, and what would it cost you to duplicate what we've done so far? So I'm terrible with like receipts, but I jotted down what we're into this thing for. Let me put my glasses on. So I mean, within like 10 bucks, 20 bucks, this is about exactly right. So if you remember, if you've been following this from the very beginning, you remember we started with a seized short block out of our Ram Charger. So, okay, so for me it was free. But I mean, for something like that, if you're going to duplicate it yourself, what are you going to pay? Scrap price, 25, 35 bucks for it? 100, right? 150? All right. Either way, it's going to be cheap. And it's an 89, it's a roller cam, 89 360. The 318 heads we used, they were also free to us. We've got stacks of them. But again, what are you going to pay for something like that? Maybe 50 bucks? Nobody wants them. They end up throwing them away. So parts that we actually had to purchase. Okay, so internally, to get this engine up to speed, we needed rings for one piston and a set of rod bearings. Everything else we reused from the original stuff. So total on that was about 75 bucks. We had to buy a car 360 oil pan and an overhaul gasket set. So that was, I think we got through Summit, 125 bucks delivered. So then we got the miscellaneous stuff. Oil pump, water pump, fuel pump, so we throw all pumps in the thing. A timing set, new timing set, and that's it. Yeah, for those things we're talking about 105 bucks. Tune-up parts, $60. And again, you see, like, I cheated a little bit, because, like, for instance, these are like old stock plug wires. The new old stock, I picked these things up. I mean, I have them for small blocks, for big blocks, for Hemis, not for Hemis, for Slant 6s, and I paid $3 a set for these things. So I'm into the tune-up parts here for approximately $60. The intake manifold, the SP2P, I swapped parts for it. But if you were going to buy one yourself, you're looking at maybe 100 bucks. And the carburetor, the same thing. I swapped parts for the carburetor. But again, you could pick up a good used Edelbrock like this one, or Thermoquad, or whatever it is that you're going to use. 100 bucks. What's the value of a core? Something you're going to throw a rebuild in, or run as is. 100 bucks, ballpark. So. And I already had good belts on the car, so I just threw them back on there. And everything else is pretty much, the way it is. I'm into this engine right here for 365 bucks. And assigning a value of 150 for a short block, 50 bucks for a set of heads, 100 bucks for the intake, 100 for the carburetor, you would be able to duplicate this approximately for around 750 bucks. So, I mean, that's extreme budget building. We're talking about for the engine, it cost me $1 a cubic inch, and it runs really good. Now I got to get to the body work. I'll see you tomorrow.